Welcome, everybody, to the first edition of Ask DJ, where watchers, listeners, and whatever subscribers write in to ask for my advice. You could send in your questions at industrialindustriesworldradio@gmail.com, and I will answer them on this show. And as this is the very first episode, it's kind of hard to get people to write in when they don't know what they're writing into. We are going to answer the questions from real life people that have posted their questions to Reddit, and we're just going to go from there. All right? Sound good? All right. Dear DJ, me, 26 female, have been married to my husband, 26 male, for 3 years now, been together 6 years. We have always been open about what we want in bed. Well, last year his buddy came to stay with us for a while and is still with us. My husband has always had a thing about showing me off and wanting to share me in bed. I, however, am satisfied with just my husband and don't care to add someone into our S life, so I've always just brushed him off and laughed about it. I feel like we could be exploring each other more before adding an extra person. But he is adamant on seeing me getting R'd by another guy. I get it. This is just something that some other guys are into. Well, remember that buddy? Well, he asked him to be down to be that plus one. I am shocked and completely shy. I am not against the idea, but I wanted to wait to explore this, but now it seems he wants to have it next week, and I don't know how to feel about all this. I don't feel ready. Any advice? Alright, so 26 female. You're married to this guy, right? Case closed. You should just, stay with that one guy. Now, I get it that you may be, kind of on the fence about swingers or whatever, but here's the deal. If you're not ready and he keeps pushing it, he's not mature enough to be married to you. He's not mature enough to be a husband. If he's, let alone pushing someone on there, but also it's a guy? Ew. I never understood the whole thing about a guy wanting to see his wife with another guy. The world is full of different people, though. And I will say, 26 female, it seems like you are down for this, but you want to have a bit more time. Now, if this husband keeps pushing things on you and you don't feel exactly ready or right about it, you shouldn't have to go along with it. I mean, you do have a brain. You're going to Reddit. Right there, if you're going to Reddit and asking advice, there's something telling you in your head that this isn't right. But if you do feel okay about this in due time, then I say you're in the same league as your husband and you guys deserve each other. Next question. I, 35 male, have been with my wife, 33 female, for 10 years. We have 3 children together, ages 8, 6, and 4. We seem to be happily married. We own a nice 4-bedroom house and have property with pigs and chickens. We've never really had issues. We were at a barbecue and everyone was talking and our friend had just went through a divorce. My wife had made a comment saying how she would have divorced me a long time ago if she could afford the price of living single. This obviously really hurt me and I tried talking to her about it a little. She brushed it off and said obviously she was joking. I'm still very upset and am having a hard time believing it was a joke. I'd never joke about things like that. Advice? Opinions? Alright, 35-year-old male. Let's just say it like this. Everybody has their own weird and wild sense of humor. But maybe you guys were never in this situation beforehand for her to make this comment. This may be the first instance that you guys are around a friend that has gone through a divorce, and this was your wife's way of making light of it and joking about it or whatever. I wouldn't take it so far as to thinking, you literally divorced me. She said a joke and oh God. Remember, you are the man in the relationship. You can't be going around up to your wife. Remember that thing you said about how you would divorce me? Did you mean it? I would just brush it off, bro. You know, like everybody has their own sense of humor, and that's all it was. If everything else is hunky-dory, you have 3 kids, you have the house, the typical American dream, and there's nothing else that has happened besides that, then It's a joke. Bottom line is this. It was a harmless joke. Yes, it was probably at your expense, but it had nothing to do about you personally. All right. Next question. Husband, 35-year-old male, demanded I, 29-year-old female, stop cooking for friends. My husband and I have been married for 3 months. He comes from a much more traditional background than I do. When we were dating, he swept me off my feet. We went out for dinners, lovely vacations, and he brought me numerous care packages. He works as an executive and makes good money. Last year I started a baked goods side hustle. It brings me so much joy. I ended up becoming really busy, made more friends, and now I'm way more social. My husband has become angry that I cook and spend evenings with my girlfriends. It's maybe 1 to 2 nights a week, and I don't really see people much outside of that. He said that I'm not a good wife and he feels used. When I said I was going to buy a car with my own money, he became even angrier. He refused to pay for groceries and said I need to contribute more money. So now with working, cooking lunch and dinner, it's become exhausting. How can I reason with my husband? I feel like I've grown a lot and he's not happy. We'll just say it like this. He's an executive, like you said. He's making a lot of money. He could take care of both of you very well, take you on vacations, da 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 da. He feels like when he married you, you were locked in at who you were, as he was locked in at who he was, an executive making a lot of money. So he feels like the person that he married is the person that should stay that way. So when you first were married, you didn't have the side hustle, you just stayed at home and you cooked and cleaned and you were just, the perfect wife for him. Now you starting this side hustle and making money on the side, he sees this as an invasion on what he married. He's like, I didn't marry for this, for you to be out with your friends and, you doing this whole thing on your own. Because any guy with that kind of attitude that feels like he's bought and paid for a wife, he's going to feel like when a woman is making her own money and doing her own things away from him, it's cause for alarm. Now say you bought yourself a can of Crystal Pepsi, okay? You bought it. You own it. It is yours to consume and do whatever with, correct? Yes. Now, not to say that your husband is comparing you to a can of Crystal Pepsi by any means, but just suspend your disbelief for a little bit and say, you bought this can of Crystal Pepsi, but all of a sudden, it grows legs, has a mind of its own, tells you that you can't drink it, and starts walking away, running away. You're gonna feel betrayed in a certain way. Like, hey, I bought and paid for this. I've been taking care of you. What is this? It's the same thing. I mean, that's the way he sees it. You said he's an executive and he's basically paid for everything. Now, that's not how I see it, but that's the way he sees it. So you have to understand that. And you have to be completely clear with him, saying, look, I appreciate everything that you've done for me. And I still do. I'm happy that I am your wife. And I'm just doing this because I feel bored, basically. I'm bored at home and I need something to do besides this. Now, it says you guys don't have any kids, which makes sense. You've only been married for 3 months. But hey, maybe you got married after having kids. But you don't mention having any kids here. So maybe you're just in this weird phase right now where, hey, I need something to occupy my time because cooking and cleaning alone isn't enough. But I feel like once you guys have kids and you're about the age where, it's time to get things happening, tell your husband, hey, I don't have anything that occupies my time. Now, if I were a mother and I had children, my time would be spent more so than ever. But now it's kind of boring and lonely at the house while you're working. I need something to do. And if he's cool with the idea of, yes, we should have kids then. This whole idea of the side hustle and everything has manifested in a way of where you could be fulfilling your time having children. And if your husband isn't wanting kids, or you're trying and it's not working out or whatever, this is your way of filling the void, per se. Now, it says here you're going to pay for your own car. I myself will say, by all means, go ahead. So he's not happy about that. And that's a sign right there that he feels like his money, his contributions should buy control over you. So it's kind of a creepy thing. But like I said, he comes from a more traditional background where the man should pay for everything. And I kind of feel that same way to a certain extent. But if he's going to say no to having kids and he just wants you to stay at home and not do anything and just whittle your thumbs all day and not know what to do with yourself, I will say that's a red flag because I think any guy that has any amount of confidence in himself will have confidence to say, yeah, my wife can go out and, bake goods and give them to people and have fun with their friends who are women 2 nights out of the week. That's not a big ask. So I feel like your husband is paranoid and he feels like he bought and paid for you by contributing everything. And he needs to calm down. It's only 3 months into the marriage. And if he isn't wanting to fill in your time and your efforts and your energy with raising children together, I would say, I don't know. It's not good for your husband, at least. You should find a guy that's more cooler than him. All right, moving on. Hello, I've been in a committed relationship for almost 3 years now. Everything has been solid in those 3 years, with the occasional up and downs. But as of recently, something came up and I'm at a crossroad. My best friend of 5 years has recently converted to Christianity. Alongside of that, he is a very outspoken conservative. One of the things he is very open about is gay people not being mentally right, which I don't agree with, but it's something we don't really talk about because we have many more non-political things we share in common. How this connects to my girlfriend is she is a semi-openly bisexual girl. She hates my friend because of the things he has said before. As of recently, he asked for me to distance myself from him and stop being his friend. What should I do? Now, your girlfriend is obviously upset about this. You got to understand where she's coming from. She feels betrayed that you are still hanging out with him because he has said the things that he has said. In this situation, what I would do is take your friend off to the side, and maybe he's just a little obnoxious and he's not aware of things that he is saying, and maybe he doesn't mean it. Maybe he's not out for, certain people. It's just like a broad idea of what he believes in. I'd take him to the side and I would say, hey, bro, the things that you're saying when it comes to this, that, and the other, I really don't appreciate it because it, gets my girlfriend upset. And it's, making me upset as well because I love my girlfriend, whatever. Now, if your friend doesn't understand that, then I would say it's definitely time to cut ties. I will say your friend, he recently converted to Christianity. So, he's become like a full-on whatever, correct? So I feel like right now, this is all new to him and he's on fire. And every single thing has to basically align to his beliefs and whatever. So he's being very outrageous right now. And I will say, yeah, your girlfriend is right. You should keep your distance from him. Maybe not completely cut him off, but yes, definitely distance him. And maybe this will be a lesson for him to realize, oh, he hasn't been calling me. He hasn't been, wanting to hang out. What? Is it me? Is it me? Maybe he'll look in the mirror and evaluate himself and maybe adjust and then try to come back and hang out with you in a more better and non-judgmental way. But if you do distance yourself from him and he comes back, 6 months later, a year later, and he's still the same obnoxious guy, then I will say, yes, cut all ties because you don't want to ruin the great thing you have with your girlfriend of 3 years now. With some guy that you're planning obviously not to marry. So that is my advice. Stick with your girlfriend and take her advice because she feels betrayed right now. And if you don't honor her feelings and what she believes, then the relationship is going to die very fast. Anyways, that is all for today. For Ask DJ, remember if you have any questions and you want my advice, make sure to email me at Industrial Industries World Radio. And if you want to keep your questions anonymous, just write anonymous in the subject. And yeah, that is that. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.